There we go. That was a good 230 rep. Pace seemed to align again there.
So welcome back to another video, and today is week 3 of my summer speed training series, and it's another race week. So I've got a race this weekend, the Dimmock 5 miler, but I had the Cardiff Bay 10k last weekend, and I've got to be honest with you, I love it when I'm busy with races. I love it when races come thick and fast, and we've got a 5k in less than a couple of weeks time as well. So it's all really exciting, but that does mean training needs to change. So for this week in particular, I have changed things around, and the goal this week was to see if I'm faster this year than I was the same time last year. So I'll let you guys watch and find out.
So welcome back to another summer series training episode where I'm trying to get faster over the 5 and 10k distance. And faster is exactly not what happened at the Cardiff Bay 10k on the weekend just gone. With me running the slowest 10k time I have in and around 3 years time. I'll give you a couple of interesting facts on that one shortly, but we're heading up to the trailhead to get this week's workout done. There we go, 15 minutes warm up done. So let's go through the week so far. This is week 3, week 13, week dry, week 12. Multilingual, see? Nearly a polyglot. If you don't know what a polyglot is, Google it. But not now, after this video. Don't mess up my watch time. This week has been a more relaxed week, and it's going to be a more relaxed week. There is no double threshold this week. What I learned last time doing double threshold was my stubbornness basically meant that I would do double threshold every week, even after races, and wasn't really sensible. I did a good job with double threshold last time. I got 15 weeks done. I felt really strong, and it was a great training method overall, but there were some tweaks. I keep saying that there are some tweaks that I need to make to myself and the way I approach it that would make it even better, I think, for me. And one of those things is to not push it and not push my luck. It's obviously, I'm clocking 20 miles in a day, which is quite intense, 20k's worth of work. So if I was to do double threshold this week, and it had to be Tuesday because it's the only day I can double this week, I'd have done Cardiff Bay on Sunday, double threshold Thursday. I probably then would have skipped the end session, the speedier session, and then gone and run Dimmock 5 miler, which I had this weekend on Sunday, and I just felt it was probably a bit too much. So I've put in some really good work in the first couple of weeks. What I decided to do this week is take more of a different approach and do what I was doing last year, which is the week so far. Monday easy, 45 minutes, got that done. A little bit less than I normally would, just recovering from Cardiff. Felt good, and looks like heart rate was in a good place. And then Tuesday, yesterday, I did a double, which was a moderate and an easy run, and that's kind of the approach I was doing in marathon training, if I'm honest with you, just kind of moderate, but the moderate was a long run in marathon training. This was just 60 minutes yesterday, and then an easy 45 last night, which then leads me on to today, which is going to be my fast session of the week. And what that means is that I will have raced on Sunday, then done a session on Wednesday, and then raced on Sunday. And I feel that's a better spacing period for me and my body. I don't want to overload it. As I said last week and the week before, this is a long-term project. This isn't a short-term thing, and I think double threshold this week might have been a bit detrimental to things in the long term. So this week I'm trying to see if I'm faster than this time last year. I think it was exactly this week last year that I took on this workout. So I didn't have this workout penciled in. I've got my training plan all mapped out for the next 10 weeks. But because I decided to shift it around and be sensible and try not to do double threshold this week, I thought, well, it'd be interesting to see how my fitness is stacking up against this time last year. So I picked the workout that I did last year, which is 6 minutes off 90 seconds. And then I did 2 sets of 2.5 minutes off 90, 1.5 minutes off 90, and 1 minute off 60. So I went 6 minutes and then 2.5, 1.5, 1, 2.5, 1.5, 1, and then to finish another 6 minutes back. So 2 longer sections, sandwiching in the filling, which is those smaller reps. And what I did and what I am doing, bar the weather, I'm replicating everything I did last year. So I have the Adios Pro 3s on, which if you saw week 1's video, I have adapted them. There's my toe, I cut a hole in them. My word, don't they feel good? Much better now I've done that. and I'm also on the same track. The only difference I'm going to do this time is that on the 1 minute rep, when I got to the end of the track and spun, that ended up going down quite a cliff, to be honest with you. Like, it goes down a lot, and I ran a very fast 1 minute split. I think that's a little bit cheating, so I'm going to go 6 minutes out and then turn left and then do 2.5, 1.5, and then back 1, and then back 1, and then 1.5, 2.5, 6 back here. So I'm just going to do a out and back for the 1 minute, just so that it's on as flat as it can be and not use the downhill, because I feel that's a little bit cheating. And just a quick note on Cardiff Bay 10k, tough old day out there, was my slowest 10k in 3 years. Lots of factors, I suppose the heat was one of them. Everyone seemed to struggle. There are a few people that PB'd, massive well done to you guys, but to be honest with you, for me and a lot of people around where I was running and talking to at the end and shared on Strava and comments and all that stuff, yeah, it was a hot day, especially those of you who ran Bristol. It sounded maybe even hotter down there. But yeah, it was really tough out there. I also watched the Tyson Fury fight, so I didn't get in until like 1 a.m, 1:30 a.m. on the Sunday morning before the race. And as I got in, I woke my lad up, so I had to go and sleep on my lad's floor for an hour before actually getting into bed at about 3 o'clock and then getting up at 6. So it wasn't the best preparation. But do you know what? We only live once. And when Matt asked me to go over to his house to go and watch it, I was kind of like, oh, I got a race the next day, and my wife just said, for God's sake, Andrew, stop letting running dictate your life, go and live your life and enjoy it. So I was like, good advice, so I did. So yeah, there was lots of things going on. It was a solid effort. I'll tell you what though, interesting fact, my heart rate was 175 average. I have not had an HR average that high in the 3 years. I went back through all my Strava 10Ks, even on a 5K, I think my highest was 174. So I averaged the highest 10k, and I got a heart rate, and I got to that heart rate within a mile. So no wonder I absolutely crashed and burned. I was holding a heart rate way too high for me to handle. In the winter, some of my 10ks are in the late 160s, and I think in the peak of summer last year when I checked Magor 10k, where I was really disappointed and ran a 34.05, that was 171 heart rate. So I struggled on that day, but this one was, yeah, it was something else. So there we go. That's all I'll say on that. I've got to get a wriggle on now. I've got to get the drills and strides done and get on with this workout. Oh, and of course I can't forget the Green Gate. Whilst I'm here, a massive thanks to SOAR Running for sponsoring this week's video. So grateful to have them on board for this training series as I lead into the London 10k on July the 14th, I think it is. Today I'm just wearing a standard tech top. I am wearing the speed shorts, and I am wearing some of their racing socks with the Adios Pro 3s. I'm so grateful that they reached out and wanted to support my journey this summer. Summer speed is what it's all about for me in the summertime, and to have them on board, I'm extremely grateful. I raced in their kit on Sunday. It was absolutely great. The shorts I've raced in plenty of times. The singlet is a better cut for me, less of a neck scoop, bit tighter under the arms. It was brilliant. I loved it, and I can't wait to race more in it. And again, this weekend I'll be racing in it again. So SOAR, once again, a massive thanks for supporting this training series. Here we go, drills and strides done, all set up on the watch. Let's get this one done. I am quite excited, quite nervous. A little bit of everything, weather's rubbish, let's just do it. $5.38 per mile for that first 6 minutes. That was good. There we go, 2.5 minutes done. Lost GPS on that one, so that's going to be a rogue entry. Was running lovely for 5:20s, and then went round the notorious corner back there, where it's really thick overhead and boom, 540s, and then in the last, I don't know, 10 seconds it cut back down to 5:33 on my watch. So yeah, a bit of a rogue one, but felt good, felt fast. Yeah, GPS doing me dirty today, but it is what it is. For those of you who are about to chip in and say, get a power meter, I know, I'm just not that fussed. I can work by effort, I don't mind. It's a bit frustrating, but I've 10 years used to this now. Certain areas of the forest like this, where the canopy, well, the canopy above you is quite dense, is always going to throw things out a bit. There we go, 1 minute rep done, 5:41 per mile. I'm going to stop talking about paces as you're going to keep saying power meter, but obviously that was not 5:41 per mile. There we go, that was a good 230 rep. Pace seemed to align again there. That's the most open stretch of area, so it's where I thought I would be, 5:20. There we go, the 130 and the 1 done. Now 6 minute back and a big hill to contend with. Big hill time in the last minute and a half. 5:45 last one up that hill. That was good. That was a really good workout. So overall, that was a really solid workout. Got to get a wriggle on now for a cool down. I'm 15 minutes away from home and I've got 10 minutes to get back, so it's going to be a fast cool down. But overall, really happy. I think this sums it up in the top corner. Look, GPS isn't quite clicking, and that was really the story this morning in terms of paces, but felt good. Felt really good this morning, felt sharp, happy to work by effort. I know power meters would solve this and working by power, but it's just another data source that, if I'm honest with you, I can't be bothered with. I'm not interested in it. It's a good metric, it's better than heart rate, it's much more reliable. It's probably the most reliable, bar lactate testing, the most reliable metric, but for me, I'm all about running by feel and seeing how it goes. So it did well today. I felt good, felt strong, and yeah, should be good to compare this year to last year.
So I ended up coming away from that workout feeling really good, and as of the time I'm recording this, which is Friday, I'm feeling really fresh, which is good because I'm excited for this weekend's race. I'm excited to give it a good go. If you look on paper, I am slower now than I was last year. And that was the goal, to find out this week, to see how I was getting on, stacking it up compared to this time last year. A couple of reasons for that, I think. Well, a couple of reasons in general. Number one, the recoveries on my reps this time around were slower than last time. I very much looked to have floated the reps last time. So just digging back into the data, it does look that my recoveries were in the 6s and 7s, whereas the ones this time around were sort of 7s and 8s, which shows that my endurance was probably a little bit better. I probably wasn't doing the session right because obviously when I was doing that with Coach Will, he would often say to me, hey look, you need to relax on those recoveries, and I often have a bad habit of pushing the recoveries too much. So I probably got the recoveries right this time, but it still does show that it is overall a slower run. The reps themselves, obviously the GPS, you saw out there, the GPS went a little bit wild. I will just put a quick note out there. I know power is a really good metric. I know it's probably the most accurate metric bar lactate testing. I said that in the video. But if I'm completely honest with you, I am a lazy person and I can't be bothered with another data source. I quite like and I'm quite used to working by feel. I'm quite happy now, although GPS does frustrate me, I'm quite happy to go out there, drop the ego and accept that some of those rep times don't look particularly great or don't show that I'm in good shape, for the fact that I know I felt good and I know how fast I was running. Like, I know how it went, but it just doesn't reflect that in the public domain. And do you know what? Sometimes it's frustrating, but I'm 10 years into running now and I really have given up on worrying about that sort of thing. So yes, it'd be wonderful to have power there to show truly what I was doing, but do you know what? I would rather trade that off for just going out there and having a good time in the forest and running out there than out on the concrete. I'm really, I'm not too worried about it, although I'm sure at some point I'll get into the whole world of power. But power aside, yeah, the rep paces weren't as quick, and that obviously shows in the GPS. I could see it was going absolutely crazy, especially in the first set. The second set seemed to rectify itself, and I was relatively happy that the last 6-minute effort was about right. That effort in particular was 2 seconds a mile slower than it was last year, and I think that was a pretty fair reflection. So I think what happened was my watch kind of got a little bit crazy in the first half and then slowly started to catch up. But if I really zoom in and look at the tracing on Strava, it is all over the place, so can't really trust it. I felt strong, I felt good. Reality is though, I'm definitely slower than I was at this time last year. So we'll leave it there for this week's video. The next video you'll see will be the Dimmock 5-mile race. Really excited to share that one, can't wait to see how that goes. And a massive thanks, obviously, of course, to you guys for following and supporting, and the companies that support me. With all the links in the description, we've got X Miles that give you a 10% discount on their nutrition. Electrolytes in particular right now are very, very important. Pure Sport, there's a link in the description for them as well. The freeze roll and the muscle balm is my absolute go-to. Noble Pro treadmill specialists, 4% discount in the description below. Ketone IQ, I've been using it every single day. I'm really starting to fall in love with this stuff. Use it before every workout. You didn't see it in this video, but again, I took a shot. I'm just conscious that I don't want to ram it down your throat, which is a weird thing to say, seeing as I'm drinking it all the time, but I don't want to keep shoving it in your face, but I'm still using it every single day, loving it. Got a bottle of it here in the office that I'm having a shot of every morning on the days that I'm not running. It's brilliant stuff. And finally, Body Light Gear, your reflective gear specialist. Again, 10% in the description with a link there. So I appreciate you guys following along for another episode. I can't wait to share next week's training with you, as well as we build into the Hereford 5K the week after. So that's exciting. But first up, all eyes on Dimmock. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please do give it a like, share it with your friends, and of course, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content. I'll see you on the next one.
You're a long way from home.